In a league defined by moments of ruthless opportunity and unforgiving decisions, the Golden State Warriors find themselves, once again, standing at the edge of a familiar precipice. For fans who crave truth beneath the surface, who seek clarity in the chaos of the NBA, the latest rumors swirling around the Warriors cut deeper than ever before. This is more than just a trade scenario. It is a reckoning with a decade of decisions, missteps, and what could be the closing chapters of an era. The departure of Kirk Hinrich years ago set a precedent that resonates even now. It created a vacuum, a space for Derrick Rose to explode into his role as a singular ball-dominant force. That situation was a stark reminder of what the NBA always was and always will be. A league of opportunity. If you don't seize it, it will move on without you. And that exact principle is now haunting the Golden State Warriors, especially as the future of Jonathan Kuminga dangles in the balance. Jonathan Kuminga, once hailed as a raw, athletic marvel, now embodies a painful divide within the Warriors organization. Fans, desperately clinging to hope, defend him with the same fervor that some defended Monta Ellis over a decade ago, blind to the reality that their loyalty may be shackling the very franchise they love. For years, Warriors fans watched as Kuminga posted glimpses of greatness, like his 24-point explosion against the Clippers earlier this season, but also endured the gut-wrenching inconsistency, the defensive lapses, the poor decision-making that left him sidelined in critical moments. The tension is palpable. You can feel it crackling through Chase Center, through social media debates, through the very core of Dub Nation. And at the center of this storm is a man many believe has mismanaged the pieces he was given, Steve Kerr. Since the departure of Mike Brown after the 2021-22 season, Kerr's coaching has faced withering criticism. The rotations that once seemed masterful now feel mechanical, predictable. The handling of Kuminga has been nothing short of a paradox, keeping him on a leash, yet occasionally thrusting him into situations ill-suited for his undeveloped game. Kerr's own words on a recent podcast sent shockwaves through the fanbase, where he subtly but undeniably questioned Kuminga's readiness for a larger role. And that, more than anything, might have been the death knell. For those paying attention, it was a confirmation of what many suspected. Jonathan Kuminga is unlikely to wear a Warriors jersey next season. Behind the scenes, the Warriors front office, long praised for its shrewd moves, is now facing an existential crisis. Joe LeCub, with his aggressive, light-years-ahead philosophy. And Bob Myers, though now departed, left an indelible mark by drafting players like James Wiseman and Kuminga. Players with tantalizing ceilings but uncertain floors. Players who represented a future far removed from the fragile, finite window of Stephen Curry's championship prime, and that gamble, stubborn commitment to developing raw prospects, it looks like a catastrophic miscalculation. The dynasty fractured, the injuries piled up, Steph Curry's broken hands sidelining him for most of the 2019-20 season. Klay Thompson's ACL and Achilles robbing him of 2 prime years, but perhaps the most haunting memory remains the 2016 Finals collapse. We're up 3-1. Kerr's rotations, benching a red-hot Curry at pivotal moments, opened the door for LeBron James to storm back and rip a championship from their grasp. That loss, as much as it hurt, was supposed to teach them something. But did it? Fast forward to now, and we see the same fatal flaw, clinging to hope, to potential, while time slips mercilessly through their fingers. This season, the Jonathan Kuminga experiment reached its breaking point. Pulled from the starting lineup in favor of rookie Trace Jackson-Davis, who injected a newfound defensive energy. The Warriors rattled off an impressive 10-2 finish to the regular season. Steph Curry surged with back-to-back 30-point performances, ending the season averaging 26.4 points per game, 5.1 rebounds, and 5.0 assists. Klay Thompson, showing flashes of his old self, contributed 17.9 points per game, while Draymond Green anchored the defense with 7.8 rebounds and 1.0 blocks per game. But despite the surge, they fell short, ousted in the play-in tournament. Once again, watching the playoffs from the outside looking in, and through it all, Kuminga sat, benched, marginalized, an afterthought. It didn't have to be this way. The Warriors repeatedly refused trade offers that could have altered the trajectory of the season, notably deals for defensive stalwarts OG Anunoby and Alex Caruso. Deals that would have fortified their perimeter defense. It's complemented Curry's brilliance and given them a shot at one more title run. But the front office balked, unwilling to part with Kuminga, unwilling to admit that the experiment had failed. And here's where the story twists yet again, with a revelation that stings. The Warriors mid-season pivoted, pulled the trigger on a blockbuster trade, sending a package of picks and role players for Jimmy Butler, the gritty, battle-tested all-star they desperately needed. And instantly, the team transformed. With Butler in the lineup, the Warriors became a defensive juggernaut, allowing just 102.8 points per game over their final stretch. Their best defensive rating in 3 seasons, Butler's leadership, his relentless drive, reinvigorated the squad. He averaged 21.5 points, 6.3 rebounds, and 5.2 assists in his first 15 games with the Warriors, including a clutch 28-point performance and an overtime thriller against the Lakers. But the joy of Butler's arrival was tempered by the undeniable reality. Kuminga's time was up. For all his athleticism, for all the talk of his potential, Kuminga's offensive game remained one-dimensional, self-centered, hunting for isolation points, neglecting the subtle off-ball movements that make a true winner. Defensively, his lapses left teammates scrambling to cover for him, eroding trust, undermining chemistry. Comparisons to Tracy McGrady, once thrown around by hopeful fans, now seemed laughable. A more honest comparison emerged. Corey Maggott, a capable scorer, sure, but never a winner, never the engine of a championship team. And here lies the core of the emotional wound. Kuminga doesn't fit. Not here. Not with Steph, with Klay, with Draymond. Not within the rotations of elite playoff-caliber squads like the Oklahoma City Thunder or the Minnesota Timberwolves, where defensive discipline and unselfish play are non-negotiable. The parallels to past mistakes are chilling. This is Monty Ellis all over again. A fan-favorite guard whose presence blocked Curry's ascent for far too long. Holding on to Ellis delayed the Warriors' emergence as a dynasty. And now, history repeats itself. Clinging to Kuminga has cost them precious years of Steph Curry's twilight prime, years that could have yielded one more ring, one more parade down Market Street. The truth, as always, is brutal. The Warriors, in their arrogance, believed they could develop for tomorrow while winning today. But the NBA is merciless. It demands clarity of purpose. You're either building for the future or seizing the present. The fans know this, players know this, and deep down, the front office does too. So now, as the offseason looms, the trade rumors swirl like a storm on the horizon. League sources confirm that multiple teams, including the Orlando Magic, Houston Rockets, and even the Sacramento Kings, have expressed serious interest in Kuminga, offering packages built around first-round picks and veteran contributors. The Warriors stand at the crossroads. Do they finally cut ties, admit the mistake, and refocus entirely on maximizing what's left of Stephen Curry's legendary career? Or do they double down, risk another wasted season, and keep Kuminga on a roster where he no longer fits, no longer belongs? These are not easy decisions, but they are necessary ones. As fans watching this saga unfold, as seekers of truth, of transformation, we must recognize the human element beneath the statistics and salary caps. Jonathan Kuminga is not a villain. He's a young man thrown into a complex system, asked to deliver on a promise he was never ready to fulfill. But the Warriors? They are the architects of their own fate. Hey, and here's the key takeaway from the channel. Delve into financial education to enhance your quality of life. Within the financial market, explore bonds and shares, particularly focusing on real estate investment trusts, which offer the potential for passive income. Engage with this responsibly, and consider reputable investment brokerages worldwide. And now, the time for waiting, for hoping, for defending failed experiments is over. The Golden State Warriors must decide. Will they honor the legacy they built with Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green by going all in, shedding what doesn't serve them, and making one final, desperate charge at immortality? Or will they retreat once more, lost in the fog of potential, watching the clock run out on a dynasty that could have been even greater? The answer, as always, will come not in words, but in actions. And the rest of us, we can only watch and remember that in the NBA, as in life, opportunity waits for no one.